ọmọ òwe ìfẹ́ dàgbà. Ọmọ òwe ìfẹ́ dàgbà.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Baba.
Why we just fall?
No, people are still coming now.
Kunle, you didn't share the Zoom.
Stanza. Baba.
Hello.
Why can't I hear you guys?
I don't know. Do you have a... I saw your comment. I've shared the link.
You shared it on the ESCO link.
I shared it on both platforms.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Oh, you didn't share it on both platforms. I didn't see the other.
Okay, I think it's something I did.
No, I did.
I didn't see it. Let me just copy it and paste.
Okay, I already did. Please do.
Okay.
All right.
Good morning,
Yeah, João now.
I do. How
About you music is okay, Joe.
Okay. Okay. Let me play it back.
So, Kule.
Yes.
So when do we actually start? This is 6403.
Let's just wait for people to come. I'm sure people are trying to come on.
So do we agree 420 or 415?
Ideally, what we planned initially was 4 for 4:15, so that we can
For
take
what?
the class for 4 for 4:15. Classes were actually supposed to start at 4:15.
Okay. And maybe we should just get people to come on board during the platform while we wait for the next 12 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, I'll join you guys now.
We are 8 now, so that about to maybe between 10 and 15, hopefully.
Okay.
Don't touch this.
Oh, hey, Daddy Oni, Alaye Bamba. Also good.
Bunmi, how are you?
Ẹ kúlé o, gbogbo lé.
This is the first time in
Good to
25
see all your
years I'm
faces.
hearing Bunmi's voice. I haven't heard your
Good to
voice
see
in
all
about
your
25
faces.
years.
Oh God.
How is everything?
Hello, Gidi.
I'm fine.
Depressy.
How now?
I'm fine. How things now?
Oh, thank God.
Ẹjọ́ wọn ti ní ká dákẹ́ lé ní o, wọ́n ti ní ká má sọ̀rọ̀ lé ní o. Wọ́n ti ní ká má sọ̀rọ̀ lé ní, straight to the point. To action. No foreplay. Straight to action. Straight.
Punishment wà fáwọn tó bá pariwo.
Hello, Baba. All okay.
Wọ́n ní ká má sọ̀rọ̀ rárá. Straight to the point.
Adeyinka Adekunle.
You are Jerry.
All okay.
We are waiting for you guys, though.
We are 9. About to maybe 10.
Oh, wow, okay, oh. Mo wá mi fi á sí o.
What number should we be when we should start? Bunmi, where have you been? Always quiet.
Very quiet and soft-spoken.
Always quiet.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Debo has joined, so we are 10 now.
Àwọn ojú kan wà tí mi ìdámọ̀ lórí fọ́rọ̀m yìí mọ́ o.
Bí ojú mi nìyẹn.
This Adediwura. Can't even remember.
Debo. I don't control.
Presido.
President.
Hello.
Ten by you and it's
How far,
never
Gary?
know it.
Oh, hello, yeah.
Go.
Well, okay.
Okay, so before people call me,
Okay.
there are rules and regulations for this class.
Okay. Go.
Okay. Rule number 1, no noise making.
Give you rule number 2.
Okay. Can you all hear me?
What is rule number 1?
Kule and Toba, Taloman design our flyers, and you try you. These flyers are very nice. Huh?
Okay.
You do it yourself?
No, I have. I have a marketing agency, so I have.
Oh, okay. I'll try you. It's very, very nice.
You can send that account number.
All right, can you all hear me now?
We can hear
Yes,
you.
we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Àwọn tó bá ti ń lè dé bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn kán lọ máa kúnlẹ̀. Wọ́n káwọ́ wọn.
Okay. Very good.
So,
Ní 21st century náà àbí?
So Kule, you are the class captain. Are you a 21st century kid? So the 70 kids and the 80 kids, we treat them like 80 kids.
No, wọ́n ti ṣe modification fún wa o.
We are no longer a kid.
Sounds like me a lot.
And then people like Ogilingwe that came to the class and went out after the lecturers arrived.
Going out without permission. Capital punishment.
He must be a descendant of Ogilingwe Adogungboro. Kori warrior, kiri ewa lare.
Capital punishment in Ifa one.
So I wanted to make some remarks before we start, which is I was just thinking about the program through the week. First of all, I introduced something. I introduced a poll, like a survey. So when Bunmi is done with our presentation, I'm going to launch a poll, and we are going to essentially vote and answer some questions that will help us in shaping this program going forward. That's number 1. Number 2, Number 2 is that when I actually saw this flyer, the first 2 sessions we had, which were very, very good, a little bit informal. And mute television, if the television is on. So number 2 is that this program actually is like an opportunity for all of us. When I say an opportunity for all of us, what I mean is, I believe that all of us, we are in our 40s now. We are no longer career starters. Most of us are in our middle stages of our careers, mid-level positions, I would say. Whatever it is we are doing, we cannot longer apply for jobs as fresh graduates. Essentially, is what I'm saying. So, that middle part of our careers, the opportunity that this program gives us is that for anybody who's going to facilitate a session like Bunmi is doing now, like the doctors did the past 2 occasions, I think that this session actually adds to your career in the sense that this is something you can add to your resume, that you are a trainer, you're a facilitator, you're a subject matter expert, and you have communication skills. And please don't take it lightly. That can make a lot of difference when you're going from being a hands-on worker in a company to approaching middle to senior level leadership positions. Communication, being able to face a crowd and especially in this digital age, being able to facilitate sessions like this over the internet, I think will add some pep to how you describe yourself. All these sessions are going to be recorded. They're going to be on YouTube, so you can always use the link. For example, if Bunmi was going to apply to be Osun State's head of, I don't know, the schools board or children, whatever, she can easily put a link of this session.
Just to add to your point, she's already penciled down in my administration.
Okay. She can just put the link to the video, or maybe like cut like 5 minutes out of it as part of her presentation as who she is. So enjoy. It started like a joke, but I think there are more opportunities in it. I would recommend all of us who want to facilitate. It doesn't matter how high or how low you know. The day you are going to facilitate, make sure that your environment is clean, so far possible, wear a very good shirt. Do it with a sense that this thing is going to be useful in the future for me some way, somehow. So those are the two things. So when Bunmi is done, we'll take a poll, and then after that, we can get back to our jokes.
But the level of participation is, I don't know if the excitement is dying or I don't understand. The level of participation is not. I look forward to these very exciting sessions. I don't know why so many other people are not as excited as I am. Maybe we need to drive it more. We discuss among the schools and see what we can do. We have less than 10 actually, and this is a very important topic. President.
Present.
You know your re-election is near. This is an election issue for you. It's sponsor another candidate against you.
Okay. Olubunmi
has been lobbying.
This one that cannot give us ordinary data for Zoom. Now he won't do the election for where? ó máa gbé bullion van wọlé sí tẹ́ election bá dé kò sí nǹkan tó ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀.
Kúnlé òkì náwó jáde ọ̀rọ̀ ló máa sọ Kúnlé òkì náwó.
Yes, sir.
Well, look, I want to discountenance all distractions. Please let us start this session because a me I'm going to be law-abiding. Okay. And I don't want Olubunmi and his court to push me into misbehavior. So let's just start our session quietly. I want to learn.
Are you serious?
So all things being equal,
and then if Olubunmi proves to be stubborn, please mute him permanently.
Even your English is not a qualified English. See if you want. Hear this Jesha English.
Yeah, we'll let Bunmi start. Bunmi, we are ready for you. At audience, we are 13 people.
13 now.
Okay. Can you all hear me, please?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I'm trying to share my screen.
Hey Joy, if I hear noise from your station, I will mute you. You know, it's part of my job as facilitator.
Okay, can you see the screen?
Hold on, let me stop sharing. My bad. That's my fault.
Okay.
Okay. Is it a coincidence that 3 of us are wearing striped t-shirts today? Me, Adebowale, and Tunde. That's amazing.
My president.
Good afternoon.
My 2 hands up.
Please put it down.
Sorry.
Bunmi,
Permission to be at ease.
Please be at ease.
Thank you.
Okay. Please,
Mo
can
kí
you see it
gbogbo
now?
ilé o.
no, we cannot see. Share our email.
Okay.
Share our email. Don't see me. You can share. Only you can
All
post.
right.
Or you can post it to the WhatsApp group maybe, or email to adejuwanjori@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. I'll slide you.
My PRO.
Cool, you can't wear school, my present. You can't wear school, my miss.
PRO TD.
Okay. Let me just, to make it fast, let me send it to Kunle so that I won't waste
Okay,
so much
please.
time.
Cool, your laptop, look. Your phone.
Mo lè lo laptop.
I'm
Mo lè lo
using my
laptop náà.
phone.
Mo lè lo laptop náà.
Sharing on the, you can share on the phone, but it's just a little bit more.
Okay, Kunle, have you received it?
I guess. Yep.
On WhatsApp.
Okay, sorry, Bolo Doingo.
Ọ̀dọ̀ ta ni?
Rashidat, how are you?
Okay, so are we good now?
Kunle shot it by slide, yeah.
I'm trying to switch my laptop.
I'm going to make Kunle a co-host so that Kunle can do it.
Mr. Adeloye, offer. Sorry, Dr. Adeloye.
Okay, Baba. Báwo
Dr.
ni?
Adeloye, Ade Jare.
I do.
Let's come as you kneel down and raise up their hand, please.
Doctor cannot need that, no.
Let's come as kneel down and raise up your hand.
No, I'm not late now.
One PhD and one
I joined it. Please, I joined the forum exactly 4 p.m.
But you left the class without permission.
Who determines whether you are late or not? I don't understand.
Left the class
Who
without
determines whether you are late or
permission.
not?
They also raised up their
Which
hand
word
and kneel down.
are you using?
You said what?
We are using your watch now. If you say anybody is late, the person is late. Someone wants to add insubordination to the punishment. Okay, guys, I'll project in a jiffy.
You don't need to announce it, just project it, my friend. Corona is bullying everybody.
Yes. Adeyinka, I'm
Yes,
trying to recollect this face.
That's Adeyinka Adekunle.
Huh?
Was in the Q science class.
Q?
Was tall and slender. He's still tall and slender.
Very troublesome.
Kola.
Yes.
I do. Oh no. Doctor, Alafia Alawa. I'm just trying to recollect your face. This face is very. I just
very
want
familiar.
to. Yes. So you are in Q class?
Yes.
What do you need Q?
He was in the third science class of the SS class.
Wow.
Oh, mo. Hey, da. Dr. Akinloye has joined us.
Okay, another doctor, making us 3.
We are not counting native doctors, please. Stick to your finances, stick to your financial management.
One PhD, one medical doctor, one native
doctor.
Hello,
everyone.
Hello, you have not projected anything. Only has announced it twice. He has not been able to project it.
I'm projecting now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
You are just projected now. You are now 5 minutes to go. Go and throw away your computer.
Okay, Bunmi, let's start.
Okay.
Tunde, why are you looking serious? You are not going to write exam
All right.
now.
Welcome to class once again.
Okay, everybody, please. Let's have Bunmi has the floor now.
All right, let's remember our instruction, no noise making. If you are late, kneel down, raise up your hand. And then Kule is our class rep. So you give me the name of noise makers after the class. All right, on a more serious mode now.
I have it already. The names are ready. If you want it now.
All right, you take permission before you leave this class. Okay, so we are going to be discussing child psychology and development.
1 minute, please.
How to raise.
Hey, Joe.
Hello?
There's somebody giving us feedback. I'm trying to see who it is. Is that somebody has the YouTube open? Right? If you have YouTube open beside, so somebody is giving feedback. So if you have 2 devices logged into the call, a computer and a cell phone, that's maybe it's Kunle, please mute one and silence one for the other, so that we don't get that feedback. Okay, sorry about that. Bunmi.
Okay, should I continue?
Yes, please. Yes.
All right, so in our class today, we are going to be focusing on how to raise the 21st century child. Okay, and the reason why I decided to give this topic of raising the 21st century child is because so many things have happened over the years, evolution, changes in the environment and all that. So we need to be aware that we cannot use the 18th century or the 19th century or even the 20th century methods to raise our kids in the 21st century. So I'm going to be very fast. There are lots of academic terms that you might not be interested in. So I'm going to rush through those aspects. Okay, so what do I call child development psychology? It's actually the scientific study of changes that occur over the course of a lifespan. Okay, it's the changes that occur in a child from the time of birth to adolescence. It involves the pattern of growth, change, and stability that occur from conception to adolescence. Okay, next slide, please. There are 3 areas of child development. We have the physical development and the cognitive development, and the social and personality development. We really don't have much time here, so I won't be able to explain all the 3, but I'm going to be focusing on the cognitive development. Because that's my area of specialty, and then because it is what is important for us now. Okay, the doctors would easily explain the physical development, but I will be mixing. Sometimes I'll be going into the social development, because education and social development are also intertwined, even with the physical development. Okay, so what do I call cognitive development? It simply means the development or the construction of thought processes, which includes remembering things, problem solving, and decision making from childhood to adolescence to adulthood. Okay, simply put, is the kind of intellectual changes you see in children as they grow, how they make, how they think, how they respond to changes, and their mental, how their mental abilities change. Is the progressive change in how we think, know, and uh, communicate. So we are going to be, what I'm talking about is backed up with theories. So I can't talk about those things without the theories. Okay, so we are going to be using the Piaget theory. It's one of the most uh, conversant theory with child development. And Piaget says there are 4 stages of cognitive development. We have the sensory motor stage. During these stages, the child begins to develop reflexes, habits, eye, hand coordination, object performance, experimentation, creativity, and all that. This is the time when you see your child moving around when you roll something in front of their eyes, trying to grasp things, trying to identify colors. At this time, they can differentiate voices, different voices. So this is the sensory motor stage, is the discovery stage, trying to put into their memory the things they are being exposed to. The second stage is the pre-operational stage. During this stage, the child begins to develop the ability to represent objects with images and words. That's when they start forming their words, they know the imagination. So they learn more. All right, are we back?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. All right, so I was talking about the pre-operational stage, whereby the child develop the ability to use the language skills. They associate objects with words, and they use their imagination a lot. This is actually the time when they imitate a lot. They copy what you do. You see them trying to sit down the way you are sitting down, trying to talk the way you are talking, and all that, trying to do that. However, it's mainly intuitive instead of logical. So it's something that is subject. And the third stage is the concrete operational stage. This is the stage where they are able to sort objects. Their understanding is developing, they are building on the knowledge they have. They develop the ability to classify as they are given. Is from 11 to 15 years is the formal operational stage. During this stage, the child begins to develop the ability to hypothesize, test and reevaluate hypotheses. This is the time the child is aware of his environment. He's trying to figure out who am I, what is my value in the environment. There are physical changes during this time too, so a lot of things go on in their mind. They try to uh, create an identity for themselves. They try to understand the environment. They try to establish something. They establish themselves. They begin to think in a formal way. So, in summary, the 4 stages of growth cognitive growth. Cognitive has to do with learning. The first stages of learning in children is the sensory motor, where the child understands the world through senses and actions. The second one is the pre-operational stage, where the child understands the world through the language and mental images. The third one is the concrete operational stage, where the child understands the world through logical thinking and categories. And the formal stage, which is the last stage, the child understands the world through hypothetical thinking and scientific reasoning. Another important theory of learning that supports the Piaget theory is the theory of constructivism. Constructivism has to do with allowing they believe that the child shouldn't be given what to learn. The child should be able by himself to construct his own learning. That's just a summary of construction. We shouldn't dish out. Just when we're going all the child stand in front of the class. All that. The constructivists believe that the child does not learn very well by that method. The child learns by building on experience. There is something on that experience to form. One of the major, the constructivism occurs in two ways. We have two types of constructivism. The first one is the individual constructivism that believes that when a person constructs knowledge through cognitive processes of their own experience, rather than by memorizing facts provided by others. That means that their own experience is what they build on to learn. Then we have the second part, which is the social constructivism. They believe that development takes place in the context of the culture. I hope I'm not too fast.
No, I think you're good.
Okay. So the social constructivism believe that development takes place within the context of culture. Thus, individuals construct knowledge based on situation, social, or cultural exchanges within the context. That means that they build their knowledge within what they see in their environment. As parents and guardians, our main focus should not be on what our kids learn, or what we want our kids to learn. Our major focus should be on what our kids need to learn. And so what do we think they need to learn? We should focus more on that rather than what we want. A lot of us want so many things for our children. We want them to be this, to be that. We see something so beautiful and we feel, oh, my child should be able to do this. That is not the way to make your child learn. To make them learn, you need to understand what that child needs. We focus on the child's needs. When we focus on the child's needs, we will be able to help the child to understand and express their emotions. Emotional development, highly informed social development. This is because the way a child feels, understands, and expresses their feelings has direct impact on how they interact with others. So we need to focus on their emotions. And to do that, we need to know what they need. Now, what are the things that a child needs? Your child needs sound health. Your child needs education. Your child needs emotional development, identity. Your child needs family and relationship. They need a steady family and relationship. You need to go back to like 2 slides. Yes, that's where I am. Okay, so social, they also need social presentation. They should be able to, I will explain all this in the course of them. They need self-care skills. All these things are the things, are the things that a child needs. And these are the things we need to focus on when we are raising our children. Okay, your child's cognitive development. Simply put, how does a child learn? Okay, there are different learning styles. 2 slides next, please. The next two slides. Okay. There is what we call the learning styles. Different children have different learning styles. Not everybody learns by listening. Not everybody learns by reading. We have different styles of learning. I'm sure we all have experience in our own different styles of learning, which probably we didn't discover when we were in school, but probably some of us when we were in university, some of us after we have graduated, that is when we discovered our learning style. Okay, so we have four major learning styles. We have the reading, which is the verbal and auditory learners. These are people that until they hear it and somebody speaks to them, that's when they learn. That's why some children, no matter how much you train them, they won't do whatever it is you want them to do. But the moment you talk to them, you will begin to see changes. We also have the reflecting learners. They reflect and they are observational. They reflect, they observe things. They learn by observing things, by studying things around them. They see things, they look at it, try to say, okay, why is this thing like this and all that? That is how they learn. Then we have the visual learners. These visual learners, they can only learn by seeing. So if you have a child that is a visual learner, they learn by watching cartoons, by putting their education in movies, in videos. And then the last one, they are hands-on learners. They learn by creativity, hands-on. They want to touch, they want to mold, they want to do things by themselves with their hands. These are the four learning styles we have in every individual. Generally, children learn by seeing, hearing, exploring, experimenting, and asking questions. Even though a lot of us are not teachers, our kids still learn from us. Therefore, when they come to school, what they have learned from us will either give them a positive or negative attitude to learning. So I'm going to just divide into the learning stages into two. I'm going to start from the 0 to 12 years, 0 to 12 years, and then the adolescents, how they learn, because the group has similar characteristics. Okay, so from infant to school age, children at this stage learn majorly through play, experimenting, exploring, and creating with range of materials. At this stage, toys, popular gadgets, and so on should be made available to kids. You should give them toys. Some people will ask, my child of 12 years, what does he want to do with toys? We have educational learning materials. They are toys, but they are learning materials that can help these children to help develop their brain. We can, computer games are a lot. I'll go into that more deeper into that later. There are also things that we can get for our children, not games that could be addictive, but educational games that can help sharpen their brain. Then they also learn through community connectors, such as parks, malls, churches, libraries, and all that. These are rich people, they get to meet or not return to that, and children will not be lacking in that aspect. Okay, then language learning is also a way to develop the child's brain. At this period, between 0 and 12, this is the time a child can learn as many as 5 languages at the same time for them to deep learn. It's not as if they can't learn language, but they can't be a master in that language. Okay, so what are the things that our children, what are the things we should focus on when for our children? Every child is unique in its own way. We need to help them maximize their potential. So children of this age, We need to expose them to this early. We need to give them a good learning environment. We need to encourage them. There should be fairness in their learning. We should teach them fairness and they should learn in their learning. We need to build their self-esteem. Every child needs a good self-esteem to maneuver himself all through his lifespan. We need to feed their curiosity. Adventure, we have so many times we shut down our children. We feel, oh, you talk too much, you ask questions too much. We shouldn't shut them down. We should rather feed their curiosity. There are ways by which you can do that. We'll go into that later. We need to teach them to be responsible to themselves, to their family, to their community at large. Okay, we also need to teach them community service. At this stage, we shouldn't raise our children with the belief of me and my family alone. We should make children be responsible for their things critically. They should find joy in it. That's why at this point, at this stage, they learn through play. So now, if you are forcing them to be too serious, they might not derive joy in learning. And when they don't derive joy in learning, learning might not be easy, and then they might be lacking academically. Then we should also encourage creativity. You see a child probably trying to make a mess, maybe trying to build something, try and find out what the child is doing, and then instead of shouting down the child, you can actually help the child to be more creative. Okay, so I go to the adolescence age now, from 13 to 18. And at this stage, the child, as the child grows older, he or she becomes more independent in learning. This is when parents and guardians and educators should practice what we call active learning. And what do I mean by active learning? We focus on how the child is learning rather than what the child knows. For instance, if a child is doing a project, our question shouldn't be, what mark did you get in that project? Our question should be, how did you do it? How did you go about it? This will give the child more confidence. Your emotional support for learning as well as practical help is very much needed at this time. At this stage of growth, you need to be more sensitive because the children of this age, they are in their sensitive period. They develop a lot of attitude and they begin to give you sometimes some parents get so frustrated with their teenagers, they don't know how to handle them. These are the period where you need to be more sensitive to what they are going through. You need to know when they are struggling with learning tasks or work. You need to find out what they need. You need to also be able to trust the child's judgment. We don't impose on them our ideas. Don't tell them, oh, I'm your dad, I'm your mom. Whatever I say is fine now. This is actually a time to discuss. Sit down and discuss with them. Try and find out what they need, what they want. You can reach an agreement. You can dialogue. It's called dialogue. You can actually reach an agreement with them rather than imposing your ideas on them. You accept the child as a whole person, treat them as an adult. You appreciate their strengths, appreciate their weaknesses, respond to the child's feelings, share their excitement, and be patient when they are struggling with one thing or the other. Okay, so those are the stages of growth, and those are the ways by which children learn. Those are also the ways by which we can help them learn. Now, there's something we call lifelong learning. Next slide, please. If we don't take the form of the next generation, we'll be unable to lead them into the life and pass across institutional knowledge to them. So we need to take the form of the next generation. That was what I was saying at the beginning, that we cannot use 19th century methods to raise the 21st century kid. We need to bring ourselves into this generation, try and think what exactly does this generation need? We need to put on their culture and preach Asians truth to them. That does not mean that we will leave our values behind. No, what we need to do is incorporate our value into the current uh, system so that our children can have a holistic education. So education is not limited to something we do with a book, paper, pencil. We need to give the coming generations make our education shouldn't be limited to majorly academics. Now the 21st century education is beyond academics. It's more than academics, and that is why we have what we call the lifelong learning. It's a continuous building of skills and knowledge through the life of an individual. It occurs through the experiences encountered in the course of a lifetime. And what is it about? It's about acquiring and upgrading, updating all kinds of abilities, interests, knowledge, and qualification, valuing all forms of learning, taking more control of our future. So what are the skills that is 21st century key? What skills should we expose them to? Communicative skills and the social skills. Okay, their career should tend towards these skills too. When they want to choose a career, it should tend towards all these skills. Because most of the jobs we do now might not be relevant in the next generation. We don't know in the next 30 to 40 years whether what we do now would be relevant. Already it's happening. So many skills are not relevant. And even those ones that are still relevant, we still need to incorporate some important things into them to make it work. So instead of coaching your kids towards a profession, you should rather focus on developing their skills and competencies. Okay, so the skills here, I'm going to discuss them one by one. I'll start with problem solving. For anyone to get ahead in life in a competitive world, your child needs to be able to think critically and to observe, analyze, and come up with smart solutions to complex dilemmas. So the child should be able to see a situation and be able to bring about a solution to that situation. The next slide, please. Therefore, the child needs to ask questions like why, what if, how do we achieve this in our kids? Turn questions into projects. So when a child is asking you, why is this thing like this? You can actually ask the child to go and find out about it, turn it to a project for the child. And you will be so amazed what the child will bring up for you. Please, the next slide. The next slide. Next slide. Okay. Okay, so in problem solving, we identify, define, inquire, action, and look back. So a child should be able to see a problem, propose a solution to it, take action, and be able to bring out results from that. Next slide, please. The next key important skill a child should learn during this period is teamwork. And what do I mean by teamwork? Teamwork helps them get along well with others. It's a way of working together with a group of people to achieve a common goal. And it helps them to get well along with or no matter how young they are. They give them something to do and they ask them to work together. They started incorporating all these into our education system. To foster teamwork, the qualities they need to build in teamwork are self-control. So while they are working with another person, they should exercise self-control, diplomacy. empathy, and management. So when our child is working in a team, the child should be able to exercise self-control. Somebody does something annoying, you should know how to control your temper. A child shouldn't throw down the work and say, "Oh, I'm not doing it again," because somebody offended. The child should be able to manage that situation. There should be diplomacy. The child should learn diplomacy, empathy, and management. You can do this by organizing events that will make them mix and participate, as such as play dates, encourage podcast projects, make a movie. These are things that you can encourage. You can encourage, maybe you have a friend that you visit, you can organize something between the children where they can work in teams. This will help the children to learn the things that is required in teamwork. The third skill is smart tech reliance. You can do this by engaging them in tech and ICT classes, such as coding, Microsoft training, and so all technology classes that is being organized for children these days. For those children whose skills tend towards art, you can team up with them to become co-bloggers. There they post news that they wrote themselves. Those that are skilled in drawing and all that, they can post their artwork online. You just encourage them to use the uh, to use technology. Help them to do PowerPoint presentation, present. They can present to you, not necessarily in their schools. They can present to you. You can make them do all those things. This will help them to know how to use the computer in a positive way. Okay, so whatever it is they learn now, it's a valuable lesson for when they eventually become writers, anything they would become in future. You can also teach them to approach the world with a healthy dose of skepticism. You know that it's not everything we see on the internet that is true. So we also need to make our children aware that it's not everything they see online that should be taken hook, line, and sinker. The fourth skill I'm going to discuss here is thinking in 3D. The ability to visualize objects and the way they fit into a space is what an expert calls spatial awareness. This is the kind of skill we use every day when we merge our cars onto the highways. They use it so much in building. They use it in engineering and building, how to maneuver ourselves in a new store. So games like maze, building blocks could help children, Lego kits, they could help children to develop this skill. Maps are also very useful for children at this point. They should be able to learn to read the map. Okay, so this is where we go back to the ancient method of reading the map. They need to learn to you switch off the GPS. They shouldn't rely so much on GPS. Rather, they should learn to read the map so that they could visualize the distance between 2 points. The child should be able to communicate clearly. Your child needs to say what he means succinctly and diplomatically whenever he explains ideas in class or argues for required.
Oh, I think we lost.
Okay,
Back.
we're back. All right, so I said your child needs to be able to say what he means succinctly and diplomatically whenever he explains ideas in class or argues for privileges with you. Having it at the back of your mind that this skill will be required, connected to co-workers, and in real time all around the world when they start to work. So these are the skills they will need when they start work. Okay, so we should help them at home when they want something. You don't just give it to them. You can ask them to defend themselves, persuade you, show you, give you reasons why they should have that thing. So it's a way of developing the child to communicate clearly. But sometimes children ask for things they don't need. If you ask them, why do you need it, they might not be able to tell you the reason why they need it. So they should be able to prove to you that I really need this thing. If you do it for them once, the next time they want to come and meet you, they'll give you good enough reasons why they need that thing. Okay, so how do we help them achieve this? We involve them in any activity that call upon the child to listen and give direction, even if it's a play pretend game. We can also use story chains. We start a story, involve the whole family, and ask them to build upon the story. Then the last skill I'm going to talk about is out of the box concepting. Okay? Creativity is the process of imagining what we can be. This has to do with creativity. Children have a lot going on in their minds, so we should encourage creativity. Creativity is also linked to problem solving. Sometimes you try to figure out how to do something, but if a child is able to think through how to bust through a particular situation, then the child is able to create a new idea from an old one. So this is a skill that everyone requires in a workplace. You can encourage your kids by helping them to go through the process of identifying the problem, brainstorming solutions, and then invent a plan and put into action. So when they have things to resolve, they are in a fix. You don't just go there and say, let me help you. You can tend to think about solutions to whatever it is that they need to resolve at that time. Okay, so example is that you can ask them to decorate their rooms, give them materials, ask them to decorate their rooms, depending on the child's ability. So then you can probably ask them to look for several ways of reflecting light. Those are the things they can do at home. Okay, in summary, we need to be problem-solving generation. We need children to be problem-solving generation. And unless we teach them problem-solving skills, which comes from creativity, it won't happen. So we can only do this by helping them to learn equity and encouragement, individual support, strengthen your child's thinking skills, and then developing the child's self-confidence and tolerance. So I would like to close with this famous quote of Piaget: only education is capable of saving our society from possible collapse, whether violent or gradual. So education is very important, and not just education, learning how to read and write. We should teach our children how to solve issues. I believe that life should be deliberate. You shouldn't just take things as they come. The situation in this country now, sorry to bring this up, but I believe that if we have problem solving, critical thinking, creative individuals at the helm of affairs, so many things would be resolved. So many things that we just see, just a little brainstorming and then solutions. We still go around circles and all that. So we need to raise our children to beat this generation of inadequacy that we have during this in our time. They are still our future. We can construct better future through our children. I hope with these few points of mine, I've been able to convince and not confuse you. This brings me to the end of my class. Thank you.
Wow. Wow.
That was amazing.
That was really amazing.
Actually, as she was going through it, it just occurred to me how ill prepared we are for a lot of things we do in life. especially marriage, parenting, all of that. Completely, a lot of us who completely ill-educated. I'm serious.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, married.
I think the takeaway, do you want,
Okay.
I'm agreeing with you on this. I think the takeaway from all this is in our conclusion that it's a deliberate effort. We have to deliberately, so
you can
we
have
have
some.
to do
And you came late.
deliberately, ensure that our kids and even ourselves we're still learning. That we deliberately make sure,
If you gave back to yourself, hey. Can you imagine?
I think you got my point, Sha.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Bunmi, I'm in fact.
Well, Bunmi, can I say something?
Quiet,
yes, sir. I'm listening.
Well, actually, I'm amazed, and it's a very good and a very interesting session. And I would also like to implore all of us that we need more people to gain from this kind of insight. She actually touched on things that we take for granted, but they are extremely important for the development of children. And if you are not a professional, you won't know. Just like I shared with a few people in a different forum weeks ago, over 20 years ago, I taught in a private school, and I used to beat one of my students then. And with the benefit of hindsight, later when I learned about dyslexic, I now realized that what I actually beat so much might have been dyslexic because I didn't know. So if you don't know, you don't know. I mean, you're just walking a blind. I mean, blind. And just like I think it's the Thomas Alvin that said that the literate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write. It will be those who cannot unlearn and relearn.
Yeah.
One of the ways for us to, because what we are getting here,
Do you want to be my?
these are things that people go abroad and pay for. I've had the privilege of doing some courses, and these courses, you pay as much as $2,000 per day, and they package it in big schools and everything. And the reality is that the content is not better than this. So I would like us to reach to our friends. All these kind of trainings are trainings that are extremely important. We should find time to whatever. I mean, this is the 1 hour on a weekend, and we're just 15 out of about 130 people on the platform. I mean, we are missing. This is the kind of training that organizations send us. I mean, when my daughter was admitted to secondary school, I had to go to almost 6 sessions every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, to learn parenting after many years of marriage. And I was reluctant, but I learned a lot. And these are the kind of things that they are things that we don't really learn. We don't get to learn them every time. So I will implore all of us to reach out to our friends in the subsequent sessions. Maybe we should be more than this. I mean, just like she said, maybe we might have missed some opportunities, but we should be very fair to our kids and ensure that we bring them in a way, in the best possible way. Let's give them the kind of opportunities we don't have. Let's give them a chance to make a difference in their, kind of difference.
Honestly, in addition to what Buki has just said, when she was going through it, I was actually running through my own childhood. Honestly, I was running through my childhood.
Don't let us go there. We know.
And I saw, no, but seriously, I was running through my childhood and I saw there were holes. So, see, there are lessons that I missed. I'll humbly say that. I think if a lot of us would be real, you probably identify some places like, damn, I was never taught that as a kid, and this is how it has shaped my behavior as an adult, and things like that. So, I mean, that was just amazing. I do have a question.
Okay, I have a question, guys.
Okay. I have a quick
You
question.
all go first.
Okay, I have a
Okay.
question. And the question has to do with, Bunmi, when you said, don't impose your ideas on them, in the sense that don't impose your ideas on your children. When they ask you why, you reason with them. Exactly, that's the part. You reason with them. The problem that I have a problem with that. I've never understood that. Let me put it that way. And the reason is that my experience in America is that is the way Americans raise children. Okay. But what I've seen is that a lot of children have been lost that way. A lot of children grow up not understanding the concept of authority. Like, because when you grow up and everything was negotiated, then you don't understand the fact that there's something like a direct instruction. So when you meet a policeman, the policeman says stop. Policeman says get out of your car or something. Like, you see, I've met a lot of adults who have a serious problem with any authority. They want to be able to have their way or have their say on everything. So actually, me and my girlfriend, we have had a lot of arguments because of our son about this issue. Because I'm like, everybody say, Jedi, don't do that. The boy will say, why? I said, because daddy said so. Period. Like, why should you ask me why? I know better than you. You are just 5 years old. So what is the balance? What is the balance between what we know as parenting and what you're teaching us now?
Is Bunmi still there?
Yeah, I think she froze for a minute.
Okay.
My question scared her, so she froze.
That you can type your question, right? So that in case she can always read it. And,
can I?
But we can discuss. We can discuss it among ourselves.
Can I say something from my own experience of bringing my girls up, in terms of explaining why? It was a difficult thing because I wasn't brought up with people explaining why stuff happened to me. Daddy said so, you don't question it. But we had to go through the process of saying, this is the reason why I said it, but you've got to do what I said you must do. So a parent will always be a parent. A parent cannot be a child. So you need to kind of retain that position of authority. It's important. Just like in America, those children, they don't understand direction. They don't understand how to do stuff because they don't know how to respond to command. So, but if you stand your ground, I said, this is what I need you to do. You must do it. This is the reason why you have to do it. And it's a balancing act. I had to learn the hard way after doing some things that our parents did to us, but it's important that you explain why to them. I hope Bunmi is coming back.
Yeah, she's back now.
Okay, I'm back now.
Okay.
I didn't hear the question from the beginning, but I have an idea. Okay, but before I answer that question, I want to answer Bola. Bola was asking if it's possible for children to have more than one learning ability. Okay, so it's possible for a child to have more than one, but I think one will be just like temperament. One will be dominating. One will dominate in that child. So usually you use what the child you would have seen it in the child. Let me just give an example. I have a niece, she likes singing. And no matter how you want to get her to sit down to learn, you can't. But when you put it in a song, she learns it. So they have a dominating skill. And throughout the lifetime of a child, that might probably be the best way the child will learn. It doesn't mean that the child cannot learn to use other learning styles, but it's going to be very difficult. The easiest way for that child will be through that dominating learning style. Okay, so we are talking about dialogue now with children. When I was first exposed to this kind of teaching, I felt when I started teaching, I felt uh, this is not an acceptable way of doing things. You know, all our mind is how much you? Why are they like this and all that? But after some time, I discovered that we are in an age where no matter how hard you are on a child, you still will not get that child to learn. So many times you just need every individual has an opinion, no matter how small the child is. The only thing is that you don't allow the child to have his way by agreeing to the child because the child questions you. You have your way, but you explain. That explanation is enough to sort out a child. Now, sometimes children throw tantrums. They are trying to test. First time they throw tantrum, you allow them. The second time they continue. So you need to make your explanation. Oh, why shouldn't you do this? This and this is the reason why. Give good enough reason. Don't tell them I'm your dad. What I say is final. Don't say do it because I said you should do it. Give them good enough reason. Don't touch the electricity box because these are the results of doing that. The child understands better that way. So you give good enough reasons. Dialogue is actually the best way because as adults, I'm sure we don't like it when our boss just bosses us around and just gives us instructions without consulting us. So the same thing with children. Before you do, even as a teacher, before I teach, I need to explain to children, okay, this is what we are doing today. It does so many things. The child processes it in his brain. Oh, what am I going to gain? Because so many things go on in the mind of the child. What am I going to gain from this? How is this relevant to me? They begin to connect it to their, I said at the beginning that they build on existing knowledge. So they begin to connect it to their existing knowledge. How is it relevant to me? The moment the child sees, oh, this is not relevant to me, he loses attention in class. The same thing happens with us parents. When we ask them to do things and they feel, oh, mom is just being difficult, dad is just being difficult. You need to try and explain to them that this and this are the reasons why this is. For older children, you can actually allow them to do a research on that kind of thing that you don't want them to do so that they can see for themselves. When they discover things for themselves, they will be the ones to come back and tell you, oh, mom, dad, so this is the reason why you said I shouldn't do this. It might be a little bit difficult because we were not raised like that. But as time goes on, we'll understand how to use these methods with our children as often as possible. I hope I've answered your question.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Please, I have
Do you
a
want if
question.
I can just add one
I have
or
a
two
question.
things?
I have
Wait,
a question.
sorry, sir.
Ife is adding.
A woman is speaking. Whatever a woman wants to speak,
I'll just add few things from a personal perspective. I totally get your angle with, I tell you because I'm your dad, and I can see the end even before you started, because the Yoruba proverb says, "Ibi t'omode ba joko, ibi t'agbalagba ba joko, nkan to ti ri en to wa lórí òkè, ọmọ kékeré lórí òkè ò rí." But there are two things I've learned. I grew up in an environment where, my parents don't just impose ideas. We all discuss. This is why I want to do it. This is why you shouldn't do it. So I had that privilege growing up, and I saw how that helped me become who I am today. Now, when you're raising kids up, when they are, 0 to 5, the age your son is currently at, when you tell them not to do something, the default response is why. Now, there is a school of thought that says kids hear no too many times than yes. And so by the time they're adults, they're used to, okay, it's going to be no. And they're already defeated. So we need, as parents, like Bunmi said, to have a deliberate attitude to encourage more yeses. And the only way we can hear more yeses is to listen to what they really want to do and By listening to them, you're also developing, a skill in them. In this world now, skills we need great communication skills, interpersonal skills. It's not how many maths they know that will make them successful in this world. We know that now. So the more you listen, the more you talk with them consciously. Now, the American idea you brought in that kids don't, they don't have an authority, they cannot submit to authority. That is permissiveness. And there's a very thin line between permissive parenting and proper parenting. So it's a difficult balance to find, I must say.
What do you mean by permissive parenting? What is that?
So permissive parenting is when a kid says, I want to do this. And just because they said, we shouldn't say no to kids. And we shouldn't just say, because I said it. You let them do it. Even though you don't think it's the right thing to do, you permit them. You just, this is, and there's a lot of parents falling into this pit now because, it's a new in, you don't shout at your kids, you don't punish them, you let them have their way. That is the new parenting, but that is wrong. So we should find the balance between permissive parenting and proper parenting. And in my dictionary of proper parenting is, letting your kids know the right thing, listening to their side of the story, and the two of you, sitting together to understand this is why it's right, this is why it's wrong.
Thank you.
And most times,
where does it fall? Caning them, where does it fall? Is it permissive? Is it proper?
That's authoritarian.
Authoritarian. So it's a blend between authoritarian and a proper parenting.
I would also like to add. I would also like to add, and I will answer that question.
Thank you for discipline. You answered a major question for me today. Thank you very much.
Okay, you know that part, just like you first said, part of the skills we are trying to build in our children is how to communicate. Okay, so we won't want people to shout down our children outside. When they are used to being shouted down at home, when they get to the midst of their friends, they exhibit these characteristics too. So we need to build up the self-confidence in our children. There was a part I said, they need to persuade you. They want something, they need to give you a good enough reason why they should have that. You can make it a project, turn it to play. You don't need to fight about it. Oh, okay. Go and write down 5 reasons or think up 5 reasons why you need to have this thing. The child will go and think about it and come back and give it. You'll be amazed at the kind of creativity you will see in your child. And then it builds self-confidence in a child so that you won't feel that self-confidence in that child at that time. And then somebody talks about discipline. Okay, in this part of the world, I'll still say it, I'm a teacher. And we have a lot of issues with our children because their parents use pain to speak to them. So when you are trying to use words to speak to them, they don't listen because they are used to the pain. So the more we dialogue with them, the more they reason they settle down to reason with you. Let me tell you the result of pain. When they go to when you ask them to, you see people in a gathering, they are about to get something, be on a straight line. You see people rushing until they beat them. They are so used to that way of beating. You see policemen beating adults just because of a simple instruction that they can't follow. It starts from when they were still very young. So when we don't train our children to listen and act, we use pain, it's going to damage some important skills in their lives. So we need to reduce pain. Sometimes we need to use the pain, but don't let the pain be a major thing. Once in a while when it comes, the child will know, yes, I have overdone it. But I don't think, I'm sure now a lot of people are reducing pain. Pain is not actually the best way to talk to your children. I think communication is better. Communication will also help them to say their mind when they are in trouble. they are going through something, because you cane them, you don't talk to them, they don't cultivate the habit of unburdening their mind. So I think we need to use the dialogue more so that we can help our child develop good values in life. Okay, Juwon, you can ask your question.
No, I mean, you people have done
I
just
have a question. I have a question. Juwon, I have a question.
Okay, the question goes to Juwon.
I mean, no, I don't have a question. You people have, yeah, you and Ife have answered my question. But the only comment I have is, it's unfortunate. At least 90% of my generation, we are damaged. Period.
Especially,
we can recreate that in our children.
We are damaged. Me.
Please, I have a question.
Okay, Kule.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so actually, because of the time, let me ask 2 questions, and then Bunmi, you can take turn to answer them. The first one is
Mr. President, please, let me crave your indulgence. Before you ask your question, let me just launch the poll because I don't want people to drop off. Time, Tilo.
Okay.
So I will launch the poll. You can, it's just 3 questions. Please answer the questions. You can go through the poll while Kule is asking his question. Thank you.
Okay, so Bunmi, first, I want to thank you for keeping it very short and sweet. My question is around, for us as parents, especially in this part of the world, where our daily schedule doesn't really permit us to be as involved as we probably have highlighted in this presentation. How do we strike a balance between the challenges of our own jobs and all, especially in a home where both the father and the mom are working, and then balance it with the kind of attention and involving parenting that our children require? What do you advise? The second question I have is that to a very large extent, I think there is a cultural bias around some of the parenting techniques that are being taught nowadays. I'm saying this because I've also seen the instance of the Bible where it says we shouldn't spare the rod. Otherwise, we might just breed some kind of children that we don't want. And then in this part of the world where punishment and flogging and discipline were some of the essential tools with which we have been molded, and we see some relative sanity.
DK has Wookie's body.
No, resist it. He said he's there. Kule is just quoting something that's not in the Bible.
He's there.
He's there now.
I'm sorry, Kule. I'm very sorry I interrupted you. I just couldn't resist it. Okay.
Okay, so but what I'm saying is that is there a cultural undertone?
Okay. Are you done?
And that verse I mentioned, the verse I was referring to is in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 24. So if we now narrow it down to our own cultural orientation, are we not completely discarding our cultural orientation to completely embrace the Western culture? Whereas we have seen some level of decadence in the West.
All right. I'll answer your first question. Your first question. Okay, you were talking about balancing your work life with your children. There is no how, no how. Your children is your children. They are nobody else's children. So you need to find a way of making out time for them, even if it is 1 hour a day, even if it's over the weekend. You need to just make out that time for them, because the major part of their life, they live with you. what they see you do things, that is what forms them the most. You know that at the beginning I talked about children learning by building on experience. Okay, so or on previous experience. So whatever it is they see you do, whatever it is they get from you is what they will take to their own world and start doing. So whatever it is you want them to be, just like I said, it's a deliberate thing. There's nothing we need to leave to chances. We must be deliberate in everything we are doing. With your children, so you should be deliberate. Yes, you are busy. You should try and create time for them. Once in a week, if you are a traveling parent, whenever you are around, make it. Some parents, some men, they travel. I'm sorry to say this, they travel for probably they are working in another part of the town. And when they come back, maybe they want to spend a week with their family. That week, the children can't move near them. It's actually a very wrong way of developing, training our children. I have a friend that said when the dad retired, he worked in Abuja. So when the dad retired, the dad wanted them, he would sit in the sitting room. The dad would expect, by that time, the children are already grown. They were in the university at that time. The dad will expect the children to sit down and discuss with him, but they won't. They will just be leaving the sitting room one by one to the room to go and meet their mom. And they will be gisting. He will be hearing them laugh and talk. And he felt so bad about it, but he couldn't do anything about it. The children are grown up. So whatever it is we want to do now, we should do it deliberately. We should create time, no matter how small the time is. Even the little time you have with them, make it a memorable one, so that they will know that, oh, I have a dad, I have a mom that really cares about me. Now, to your second question, I will still go to that your Bible passage. Okay, discipline is a training that is used to correct the mind and the heart. And I'm very sure that pain is not something that corrects the heart and the mind. The rod in the Bible is a form of discipline. It doesn't necessarily mean a physical rod. The rod means discipline. It means we should discipline our children. And how do we discipline our children? You must have a set down rules for them, because if there is no rule, there's no reason for discipline. A child should know, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. You can attach a reward to a behavior. Those are ways by which you can help our children develop good behavior. You can attach a reward to behavior. You can actually train them step by step in acting right, the things we want them to do. So rather than beating them, you can actually use some measures, different measures to train them. So discipline is not only, there are so many things that you can use to discipline. You can take something maybe they love to do, a particular outing, maybe you promise them you want to take them out. You can say, okay, because you did this, I asked you not to do it, I am taking it away. You don't just do it callously, you explain to them gently too. Oh, I'm taking away this privilege because you have done this. That's the essence of dialogue. Talk to them. Let them know everything has a consequence. The children should also know that whatever behavior they bring forth has a consequence, either positive or negative. So I hope I have answered your question.
Can I add one to your first question, Kule, in terms of finding time to look after children if both of you are busy? It's a balancing act. Both of you, yourself and your wife, need to reach an agreement as to who will need to be the primary care. The primary carer does not necessarily mean that one of you will resign his or her job, but that person will have more time to monitor the children, to know how they are doing in school, what emotional challenges they are facing in school, who are their friends, to be able to talk to them. You need to agree between each other who is going to be responsible for that, because it depends on your income, it depends on your responsibility in the society. It needs to be an agreement between the two of you. From my personal experience, I had to kind of pipe a bit lower and decide to look after the children, as well as working. I could be earning double what I'm earning, but I decided to take a lower salary because my husband is fucked up. So it's a family decision, because I just in the society I'm bringing my children up and they need me to listen to them. Otherwise, the society will train them in the way that I don't want them to be trained. So that's from my experience anyway.
Wow, God bless you for that. But my quick comment to Kunle is, please don't forget, there's also cultural bias in the Bible. That's just the truth.
Thank
you. Those things you just, that verse from King Solomon, the Bible has Jewish cultural bias because it's from the Jews. Yes, we are Christians. Yes, it's our holy book, but there's a lot of things in there that you just can't apply hook, line, and sinker, because they are the cultural biases of the people. Even Apostle Peter, there are things that Apostle Peter did because he was a Jew that Apostle Paul opposed, because Apostle Paul was more exposed to Roman culture.
We're talking as if
we have to remember, those things as well. But Binpe, thank you for your answer today. If I'm going to crop that session out, I'm going to send it out and make it viral. And the reason why is because today a lot of young women see it as cheating. This is the feminist thing going on. A lot of women are rebelling. Young ladies, I think, are rebelling against the concept that why must it be the woman all the time who has to take the back seat in their career in order to give the family strong home training? And this is like a big deal. It's going on, especially among generations.
Yeah, I'm a feminist. Do you want to be careful?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't let them fight you.
Let's not go there. Let's not
I'm not going to bring down feminism or anything.
I want to be house husband.
But this is what I think we all need to do. It's yes, someone has to take a conscious decision to be the primary giver, but it doesn't even have to be. I'm saying from personal perspective, your father, the role of a father is not something a mother can perform.
Amen.
No matter how much we try, you cannot be a dad. The man must be consciously present. The man must be consciously present in the life of his children. And how do you do this? Yes, you're busy. Yes, you're making money. But we set our priorities right. There's no amount of money you make if we have deficient kids that will fix that. So in our daily lives, as we go out to make money, we should also remember that we have a bigger responsibility at home that money cannot fix. Remember that video of that man beating his son after failing? That's because the man was never there. If he was there, he would know the reason the child would not sit for maths and English. It could be a plain lame excuse as him not understanding what to go and write in the class. And the dad simply sitting down with him and even telling him as much as do your best, and if you fail, it's okay. Dad could fix that problem. So if you sit down and say, okay, my wife is earning less than me, and so he should be the primary caregiver. I'm sorry, as a dad, you're failing that child because you're a role model. Children, for whatever reason, wants to be like their dad. I grew up as a girl, and all I wanted to be was my father. My mom was always there. My dad was also there. Not as much as my mom, but I wanted to be my dad. I'm growing up with kids that also want to be like their dad in everything. So when they talk, you know, this is the reason they're talking this way, because they want to be like their dad. And I'm glad, you know, I have a husband that's hands-on with the kids as well. So Kunle, Juwon, this isn't feminism. this is what our kids need. They need you. You need to be there.
I also wanted to say something. I have just something to say.
Please, before anybody, I'm sorry, I just wanted to share the results of the polling. We have very good responses for the training today. 75% enjoyed the training. The minority said it was okay. Actionable lessons from this session, 69% strongly agree, 31% agree, and 99% of the participants actually answered the poll. So, and then what the next topic should focus on, financial education and family are the two. The financial education and family are a tie in the topics that people are interested in. So for the executive, Kunle, Buki, and everybody, I think that we should then focus our energies in this direction. What I would say is for financial education, that's easy. I think we have experts in the house who can help us with that. For family, for those who voted for family, if you can be in the WhatsApp chat group, if you can get a little bit more specific, what do you want to explore in the family dynamics, apart from marriage and all of that. So thank you very much.
Yinka just asked about mental health. What about mental health session?
See, 0% answered health. But that is not to say we shouldn't do it, because I know for sure that in our culture, we don't really understand mental health.
Mental health, yeah.
Thank you, Yinka.
Sorry, can I say something? And I think that as we go forward during this COVID era, post-COVID, mental health will become more important, because the reality on ground is that a lot of people are going to lose their job, incomes are going to be affected, family are going to be tested. The world in itself is going through it. So we are and I think the reason why people may not vote for mental health is because we had back-to-back training. Probably maybe after the next one or the next two, mental health is extremely, extremely important. Just like I think Bunmi said, or if people don't take it serious, people even need the mental health advice. Don't even know that.
We don't even understand it, honestly, in our culture.
It's something that we think is important. People are going to become more paranoid. Suicide thoughts are going to be more pronounced than depression. So we need mental health training to keep us focused and realize that tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Thank you, Buki.
Can I just make a comment?
So,
you can't be waiting for a while, please.
Yinka, if you're listening to me, if you want to anchor the mental health, just let us know. Like I think we saw, I suggested it on the main platform the other day.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a presentation you can do because I know you are the expert on that. So yes, we can take it. And I think we have the financial session upcoming too. I don't know what the program is. The school principal will let us know. But yes, we can have mental health. As many topics as we have.
Who is the school principal?
Experts. Kunle is the principal.
I wonder, Kunle
is the principal.
I'm not even aware.
Sorry, I want to go back to what we were talking about, actually.
Okay.
The mega principal.
No, I want to go back to the real subject that Bunmi has been really taking us through. I want to bring to the light that some family cannot afford to only have one parent doing more of the work. This time you see some families pulling 80 hours a week. The one you know this, how people live in the United States and also UK. Like one parent pulling 80 hours, another one working full-time as well, leaving little time for children. This has happened to me too. I have to work. My husband sometimes have to travel. But still, it doesn't excuse him from the role of parenting. The world is actually a diverse place with improved technology that he called every night to read stories to the girls. He would do that. He would check how their days were going. No matter how tired he is in his own location, he will make sure that he had FaceTime with them every day. And the children look forward to that. So I want to say that this does not excuse anyone from connecting mentally with their children. So I don't want to forget that point. Word is better, unlike the time we have phone, no, this is not the time anymore. Everybody have a phone that has WhatsApp or Zoom, anything that you can actually use to connect to your children. Don't let us leave them and let them be influenced by what I see here. Sometimes I see African children that relocated there with good background and good culture, good parents, just fell by the wayside because we were so busy chasing after money. Then we're crying because we're putting them in rehab and spending tons of money and they don't get clean because they're on drugs. So let us think deeply and stop making excuses and find a way to make sure that we're part of our children's life, no matter what. If there is a will, there is a way.
Correct.
Amen.
Can I also just add this as
one comment?
Kule, all the men here, I would also add this. Yes, I know we all want better lives. We all, pat ourselves to say, yes, I make the money out and all that. Now, I want you to do this for yourselves and for the kids as well. Try this, make them priority. Tell your kids today, whenever you need me, even in the midst of a meeting, I'm in the midst of, wherever, tell them they can call you. You would find this important as they grow older. There will be days that they really need to get in touch with you. And the first thought that will come to their mind will be, oh, that is at work, I can't call him. Now, have this conversation. I had it with my kids. Like I tell them, no matter what meeting, no matter what I'm doing, you need to reach me at any time. Just pick your call. Call me, text me. And the reason I say is this. We live in a very fast-paced world. You don't know what would happen that they need to call you. And if they have it, consciously or subconsciously, that daddy or mommy is always busy until after this time, I can't reach them. Things could go wrong. So let us just consciously let them know. Whatever we're doing, wherever we are, they are our priorities. They come first. Money, and well, maybe because I don't put money first. Money is irrelevant. It's important, but it's irrelevant. These kids, they come first. So let them also know that they come first and that they are the priorities. No matter where I am, no matter what you do, they should come first. They should also be our priorities.
Okay, so in essence, it's important to get your priority right. Get your priorities right and prioritize your children.
Okay, so the first thing I want to say is thanks, Yinka, for the contribution. For as many as are able to take us on any topical issue or subject matter, please let us reach out to any of the experts. We know that we've not essentially covered all disciplines or all areas that we might want to touch. But again, our knowledge of what every member of the class does currently is limited. For instance, I don't know the area of specialization or discipline of a lot of us. So it might be difficult for me to be able to reach out to people that needed to be reached out to. So please, if you know anybody who you think is a resource person that can enlighten us, please help us get them to on board.
Oh, sure.
The other thing is, I've onboarded all your comments around, deliberately making the effort to be there. But the more I listen to Yinka, Bimpe, Ife, and all, I see that our local nuances are missing from the advice you are giving us.
Because they've been
and when I ask this question, it's not essentially about me. I live in Lagos. I probably have a lot more advantages or edge over somebody who lives in Uworoko or Ado-Ekiti. So if you say, for example,
because
that, pick up your phone and call me. At what age can somebody who was in our class but who lives in Uworoko give a phone to a child that's in primary school? So if we live within the ambit of the realities of our environment, And I agree 100% that parents need to make deliberate efforts to be there for their kids because they need to play their role as parents. You know. But having said that, I will also want us to domesticate some of these examples and advices so that it will suit our own local environment here. I give you an example. At the early times in my career, I travel a lot. In fact, it was so bad that in some cases, I need to make deliberate effort to remember the city where I am at some point. You know, so and that is to say that there are instances where there are no network. You can't even call. Your family can't reach you. Not because you don't want to reach them, but because there's no network.
Infrastructure is not there.
So the infrastructure is not there. So when we own some of these pieces of advice to suit our local nurses in a third world country like Nigeria, and Lagos is not Nigeria, let's not mistake it. Then we might have to be a bit clever in the way we go about our primary objective of parenting. But I don't want us to say these things and gloss over it. And somebody who is also listening to us or who is going to watch the YouTube recording that we're making will not find it very applicable. That's on the second part.
Kunle, it's not a one size fits all. Everybody needs to look at their situation and see what they can do to make a meaningful contribution in their family. If you travel in a place that have no network, believe me, such places exist in the United States that you will lose signal completely, depending on where you are. But you don't stay perpetually every day in this place. There are some days you will actually be able to have network. Even if you don't, your primary school students, I don't think they will have a phone on them, but they go home every night and sleep. And they have a mom around also that you can call on our phone to actually say hello to your children, even if it's your voice they heard, even if it's just something soothing and comforting, like, okay, even if you can write them a letter, you know, a lot of things that we can do to be part of our children's life without really, you know, but it depends on the situation that you are in. It depends on what you have available. So I'm not saying that, oh, the subject, the topic I put out is a one size fits all. No, no.
Okay, quickly
before. So thank you. So finally, I have decided to take a pay cut. Please, guys. You guys need to now make up for the pay. Yes. Because I want to pay attention to my children. I mean, you don't want me to train them.
Oh yeah,
guys, please. I just want us to I wanted Mrs. Aomoku joined us in this session. She was here throughout. To give her a shout out. Yawowa. Let us hear Rashida's voice, I beg.
Where is your voice now?
Let's see your face, oh.
Let's see your face.
Oh. Hello.
Thank you for joining us. See you today,
Today looking like a head. It's not romantic. Let's talk about husband being romantic.
What got for us?
Come on.
All right, thank you.
Egbedi today, man.
Romantic
Now, let's go. Let me quickly say something. With Kunle, I don't give my primary school kids a phone as well, right? And back to cultures and all that. Yes, we were all beaten at some point. But I'll say this, I still beat my kids. And each time I've beaten my kids, I've realized it wasn't punishment. It was my own frustration. I'll give all of us parents here an assignment today because it took me time to actually accept that. Each time you beat your kids, go back and try to reenact that scene and check yourself.
I want to say something about that.
9 out of 10 times, it was frustration. Wọ́n nǹkan tó ṣe dùn ẹ́ ó fún lẹ́gbàá padà kó náà lọ feel the pain yẹn. We're not correcting that child at that time.
Sometimes the frustration might even be a transfer of aggression.
God bless you. Most of now, for me personally, each time I've slapped my kids, he was out of frustration. And most times when I think about what has happened, but at that time, I was angry. They hurt me. I needed to retaliate. This is not an effective way of correcting children. So what we can do to avoid that, so all this spare the rod, check back for the child. Most sorry, me will agree. The rod is not always cane. The rod could be withdrawing privileges. The rod could be withdrawing privileges. The word could be, so many other things. Yes,
I agree with you on this. Why I don't believe that you have to beat them all the time. But you also need to realize that kids have their own peculiarities. There are kids that are very what's it called?
No, you have children that test your inner character.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, we can.
We are here.
Yeah.
Guys. So kids have their own peculiarities. I don't say that you have to beat them all the time, but there are times you need to reset them. There are some very simple things that you actually need to, once in a while, you need to tell them that life is no bed of roses. And even if it is, roses have thorns. So they need to actually feel, because we have kids that won't give you trouble. Give them instructions, they follow it. We also have very stubborn kids. I was a stubborn child when I was growing up. And I know that
you are still a stubborn child. So
I don't beat you at times.
Rookie.
Life itself is full of surprises.
Please, can I come in?
Please come in.
I want to comment. Can I go ahead?
Please
go ahead.
Okay, let me tell you one psychology that I see. Psychological effects of you eating your kid. Immediately you lay your hand on that child, you're telling her it's okay, especially if it's a girl, that it's okay and it's a form of punishment for any wrong they do.
I didn't hear you.
You raise your hand to eat a child, you psychologically
okay. I would like to ask
Sorry.
Buki a question. You said you
I
were.
want to hear what Inga said. I want to hear what Inga said.
When
I
you
didn't hear you
raise
very
your
well.
voice at a child, when you raise your voice or your hand at a child, you psychologically separated them from you. Whatever you're saying is no longer going in. Even if you raise your voice.
That's not true, Nigeria.
No.
I don't agree.
Let me finish.
I don't agree.
After you hit your child, how do you feel? Let me ask you that. When you hit your child, how do you feel?
Before I beat her, we let her realize what she has done.
No, I'm saying after.
How do I feel? I feel nothing.
I don't feel anything. I'll go and continue my life.
That's where the problem is.
I feel nothing.
I don't
The
feel
child
anything.
has not learned anything. The only thing you communicated with the child is that dad is mad and is unable to handle his emotion and he let out his frustration on me. That's what you
I think we are speaking too much English on this thing.
Wait. We brought us up.
No, that's not what I meant.
We have 4 minutes more.
No, confess, Tony, don't beat your children anymore. You won't share a goat.
No, you won't beat them like a goat.
That's my inner gangster. Seriously. Oh my!
If you had been my mother, you couldn't have avoided beating me.
Man, do ebaje. You haven't met my middle child. Allah.
Can I say something, please?
You explain how you're going to do that.
Moradeo has not spoken, so she wants to speak.
Let Nika explain how she will do that.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
See, this beating or not beating.
You are calling from London, Abby?
Yes, in a very nutshell. Good evening, everyone. I'm so sorry for joining it. In a very nutshell, I think what has worked for me, I think taking away privileges, do one more generation in Juegbalo. And concon, by me, I make point, each and every one. When he first said transfer the aggression, by me, it's about lori. Oh, ma pariwo, ma wani dati basoro letak be okay. It's for your own good. You know, ma fogbagba, you know. But mo realize be Sherry the bad privilege way, especially on my tan bi leni. O dun won je gba lo. And they will, you know, thank you. Okay. Let me give an example.
So there was no privilege for parents to take. And
fundamental human rights.
I said this generation. Let me give you an instance. For example, I want more. Like I have two boys. PlayStation and switch box and everything. Come afi share. Any time to ma ba won re won share. This also time I play Fortnite abi nkan. Like okay, abi on fe lo internet. Nkan ta ma sọ fún wọn even kékeré. Ton ba ti share anything to buru ma sọ pé okay o. For the next 2 weeks, ní lo internet, ní lo PlayStation, ní lo PS4, ní lo Switch, ní lo Nintendo Switch, ní lo nothing.
Our privileges here.
Yes.
In London. In Nigeria, there is no internet. First and foremost, that doesn't count as a privilege.
Let me just say something.
What do you mean there's no internet?
See, agent Sonko. Sherry,
you have internet here.
Now.
Let her talk now.
Moderator. Sherry.
What do you take away from the time without privilege?
Nika, Bunmi, it's good to see you guys. Everyone is so good to see you all. Sherry.
Hasn't contributed yet, so let's give the floor.
Sherry. Even Ninja, and everything. There's still something. I might not be able to pinpoint this is it, but there will be some. I want treasure. Treasure. You want jacket now?
Don't mind them. I don't mind them.
Okay, Murade, we understand your point.
Yes.
Let me just come in here. I want to give the floor to Tunde, and then I have a question for Larry afterwards. And the reason why Larry lives up country Nigeria, he lives in Akure.
Okay.
I don't know where else anybody lives. In terms of collecting privileges, I would like to hear Larry's opinion after today has spoken about like when you live up country. What are the privileges that you can take from a child in those environments?
Okay.
Punishment. Over to you.
Okay.
Go do your project, Mayan project. Go do your project now. I'll be with you shortly.
Okay.
Parenting. So after Tunde and Charles, I will give you examples of privileges you can withdraw up country. We all grew up in Ilesha, and I'll give you examples of privileges that were taken from me as a child.
Just to guide your thought, give me an example of privilege that could have been withdrawn from me. Because
I will. We all grew up in Ilesha. Let me give you the type of privileges that were taken from me as a child. I grew up in this type of environment that you don't just beat and beat. Yes, we were beaten, but not as much. Okay, so growing up in Ule Grant, I liked sports. I was very active in church. I was in the drama group in church. I was a choir member. So I had all these things. Normally on a weekday, I have 1 or 2 things to do after school at church. Each time I misbehaved, those things were taken away from me. So it meant on Sunday, I would not be able to robe in the choir. It meant if there was a youth thing in church that I really liked, and I was always in the forefront, it meant I wouldn't be able to go. There were times, I'll tell you this, because also growing up, I didn't like eating. So during Lent, one of the privileges that was taken away from me was that I was not even able to fast. Can you imagine that? It was Lent. Everybody would fast. But because you did not eat when you were supposed to eat, you would not even fast. So I was forced to even eat during Lent. Those were privileges that would. So let me tell you, on Saturday, somebody mean look why I practice. Back there, that week I would be a role model child. Those are things you need to understand your children. Some kids, if you beat me, I would rather you beat me than tell me not to go to choir practice.
So it's important to understand the child.
So those are privileges. If we look in, be creative. Because at so narrow mind, you are there's so many things. That you can take away from kids, and I'll tell you one man.
So on the principle, as a
principle, to buttress down what you say as saying,
whatever the child enjoys.
Can I say something? Can I just say something?
Sorry, before you say something.
Hello, can I just say something? No, I just want to buttress down what Ife has just said. There's something that we need to understand when we want to punish our children. We have these children, they have different way of attacking or opposing the way you want to train them.
Yeah.
Like my children, the way I used to do them, sincerely, there is one that I will not even try to beat because he will not listen. The only thing I can do to him is, if you don't do this, forget it, you are not watching cartoon. Do you understand? And there is one among them that even before you beat, she has started begging you, please, mommy, I'm sorry. But we need to understand our children. What we pain them more. I have somebody, I have people that
is the word.
But understand. There's this person that right from our childhood, I have to leave a place now. Right from our childhood, she was she was under bondage to her because her mother would feel like, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. I tell you, the moment she entered university, everything changed. She actually told me that, see, mommy, everything my mommy told me not to do, that they are forcing me not to do, I'm going to enjoy it. And the truth of the matter is not because they don't want her to enjoy it, but they know that it is not good for her. Now, we need to understand our children. We actually need to understand them. Like now, let me give you an instance. I'm sorry, I will digress a little bit. I have a family friend that their children, right from the start, so there's no hearing in there for their, right from the childhood. I have two families like that. One of the families, the children came to me and they were like, Dad is Torawan, Mom is Torawan. When I get to university, I'm going to make sure I start using earrings. They enforce them not to use earrings. They don't understand the reason why they said they should not use the earrings. Their belief is different from the children's belief. So we need to understand, we need to come at the right time into their mind. We need to read them. We must be a good psychologist when we are dealing with our children. Know what they want, know how to pamper them. Know when you beat them, if you have known you are beaten, maybe you are passing aggression, immediately call them back. Let them realize the reason why you did it. It hurts a lot. If I mistakenly beat my child, sincerely, I will call him and I'll tell him this is what you did. And I don't think it's right. Do you agree with me? He will say yes. Okay, I'm sorry I beat you. I do say I'm sorry I beat you. Because and that is how it is. I have beaten him once like that. I called him, I hugged him, and I said, I'm very sorry. So we should understand our children and let's try that one. I'm sure it will help us. Thank you.
Sunday, please.
Okay, thank you. What I want to say is that in terms of taking away privileges, let me just be practical with my kids as an example here. If you take one privilege from them, they will quickly adapt to another thing.
Clever children.
So if you
and you take it away too.
If you tell them they are not going to watch cartoon, and probably I want to watch. Don't be surprised that immediately they are going to watch that news with you. And the reason why I'm telling them not to watch cartoon is just probably to go and take their books. So there's no one formula fit all, like everybody will be.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
One fundamental thing is we should understand them. But for me, I will not rule out beating sometimes. When
I like that.
I want to say something. Motiri cases àwọn ọmọ kékèké tó yẹ kó wọ́n develop oppositional disorder and be bad. But the three cases tó yẹ wọ́n fẹ́ kó lù wọ́n because that's how they get their own religion. And they grow up starting.
Oh my rebels.
So ẹ careful when beating your children. I'm serious.
Thank you for
What
that.
do you want to do? Okay.
Another beautiful thing is, even when I'm beating them, I make them realize and feed their friend. And I get them to understand why I am beating them.
Okay.
My daddy
came here is on fire today.
I'm not happy. Every time I remember that, I play with God.
Health professional, so she's passionate.
How will I like somebody that eats me?
I understand.
Don't beat your children.
At this point, we have even hijacked the session from the facilitator.
Sorry.
But this has been great. Officially, we have completed today's session. So you guys are free to keep talking.
Thank you, Bunmi.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bunmi, thank you so much.
No, session cannot end like that. Oh, how can
let's see your face now.
Okay, let's see my face. Okay.
I'm saying, like, officially, we have completed, but now.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, this party has just started.
The fella is party.
Hey, DJ, say DJ, play me DJ.
We need to finish now.
You don't see my little more.
Yeah. So I mean, please before
Juwon, Buki, Ife. It's good to see you guys.
I'm telling you.
Yinka.
Adenike, Yinka, everyone.
Radio. I mean, there was something I said earlier before. Radio is in love. So there was something I said earlier.
Buki, don't be jealous.
And somebody has just left, so continue.
Enjoy.
Okay, yeah, Juwon is talking. Yeah.
Especially for Yinka, Ife, Audio, and I think Bigwe I don't know when Bigwe joined. What I was saying was the remote are great, and we are going to have each person who is willing to facilitate at some point. I see it as an opportunity for us to not just learning from each other, but it's an opportunity that can add. Yes.
That's right. Because I would like to say the topic.
Yes, like we are trainers.
Like somebody talking about mental health.
For example, exactly. Like today's session, Akinloye, she can actually cut this session apart, put it on her resume as is a facilitator of child psychology. It was me. That's what it is. This is essentially a seminar. People pay for this.
That's true.
Yeah, the things that the doctor for us last 2 weeks.
I get a lot of honorarium for this. So how much are you going to pay me? I have to get paid now.
Oh, what you go?
I don't pay you.
Don't be saying
don't take it.
It's trying my side also now. Also.
So know that.
Actually, Juwon, $5,000 to add to what you just to say this. Actually, I know a lot of people are kind of hung up on time and keeping to time and not extending this. So I'm glad Juwon officially ended the seminar, so to say, so people are free to go or to stay back if they want to socialize. Because apart from, I see these things from a personal perspective. If I go to a class and it's all, you just loading stuff on my head, loading. At the end of it, there's no time to relax and socialize, and you've actually not impacted me 100%. Because apart from the educational benefit of these types of seminars, the emotional is also equally important. Here we are, seeing our faces, yabbing ourselves, roasting ourselves. Some of us will crawl back into our shells for the rest of the day. And it is memories from these 2-3 hour sessions that will keep us going for the rest of the day.
That's true.
We should not forget that. It's not just because we want to. Listen, guys, I'm talking. When I'm talking, you don't talk.
We're done.
We're not done.
Hello, guys. Can I please just say something?
Juwon? Yes.
Hello, can I say something?
Yes.
Okay, so Juwon, first I want to thank Juwon for the way he's moderating this session.
Okay.
We can hear him.
Chebo, the born again voice here now.
And then I have said that I don't want to thank Juwon specially because of the way he's administering this session. And one of the things we actually talked about from the onset, one of the things we spoke about is we hope to make this very big and elaborate. And perhaps at some point we'll be able to even bring in external resource persons, to come and talk to us on certain areas that we can do. External resource persons that have capabilities that we don't have. For capabilities that we don't have in-house. But having said that,
oh, sorry.
I'm going to mute you.
Having said that,
you guys go rebellious.
Kunle Shodiruni, come ask that question, Shodiruni.
Bobo lore mi e file.
Wọ́n ti parí class, wọ́n ti parí as far as I'm concerned. Wọ́n ti parí.
Oh, this are all let me buy a BK.
In Jesus' name, we have joy.
Oh my
God. And she be
continue, Joe.
Who let you see what we watch a Jericho? See what Bawa. Bawa finally.
So for you
oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
So, Koboko tí mo rà sílé báyìí mo fẹ́ lọ bọ́ jẹ.
What does that mean?
She's going to cook it. Shebi Koboko is from
Oh, wow, lockdown.
So Koboko because nígbà tí gbogbo yín ti sọ pé ká má na àwọn ọmọ, so kí la fẹ́ ṣe?
Honestly speaking, one of my perhaps for me,
I think wait. I think it's only the women here that are looking for no spanking at all. We just have to create a balance between taking away privileges. Actually, that's what my wife likes more. Taking away privileges. To ba fẹ́ lu ọmọ ṣáàjì
sọ̀rọ̀ privilege lẹ́ẹ̀kan ó dákẹ́. Ó ṣe rẹ̀ wá mọ̀ pé taking away privilege.
That is a mistake.
One by one, please. Larry, please finish your point.
Actually, we can take away privileges, but to me as a person, when I'm home in the weekend, I don't want my children to watch cartoon. They would disturb me. So when I have other things doing, I want to take away their privileges. Don't watch cartoon. They will be all over me. So I won't be able to do anything.
See,
So
everything is not about you, Larry.
Now, actually, Charles, I was going to say that about privileges because it's easy for us to give gadgets.
Yes, I'm just put it there. Beating them once in a while is not a bad thing. You don't have to kill them. Spanking them once in a while is not a bad.
Larry,
You have to spank them.
Watch cartoon on weekends of you. I think that the Western culture, honestly, the Western culture has bedeviled beating to the point that they make it. But I think the Western culture cannot separate between disciplinary spanking and straight abuse. You cannot. There's some of the symptoms or what is the side effect of what they call beating. I don't have it. A lot of us don't. There's a difference between you spanking and straight abuse.
I want to talk. Something is carrying my stomach. I think I'm making a mistake here, right? And it's also a good one. I will install another president if they don't allow me to talk.
So literally, you know what?
Let me say something.
All beating is abuse. Like said, sorry, spank, and then you bring them.
Let me give you an answer or solution.
Let Buki finish.
That is a mistake we make, and the same governance mistake that I see our politicians making, and it's the same mistake governors all over Nigeria are making today. And I will give you an example. In Ogun and Lagos states, they've closed school, and I agree with closure of schools, right? But what is the alternative? They say e-learning. Hold on. If you put together the number of kids attending in Lagos State, how many kids can actually afford e-learning? We are talking about less than 50%. But that is the solution. That is the solution that have been applied as an alternative to what's it called? To the traditional schooling, digital education. Now, if we are talking about a solution to certain things here, the average people on this platform is not the average Nigerian.
Correct. That's true.
And the solution that will not apply to the average Nigerian. So many of the solutions that our politicians think about are not and that is why you have the social unrest and everything all around. Because it is an enlightened mentality. An enlightened mentality will not work in Kano. It can't. It will not work in Katsina. It will not work in my take away privilege. I look at my growing up. The only privilege you would have taken away from me is to tell me not to sleep. It should not happen. Because when there was no privilege to take away, it will not, just like someone said, as at that time, some kids, I'm not saying that beating is the solution. Seriously, I don't even know the solution. I have to guess, and they are relatively old. The oldest is more than 9 years old. And I can say that probably I beat them maybe once in 2 months. Even the threat of beating itself, by the time I beat them, they don't even feel it again because I had a
that is it.
One is secondary school already.
But
the reality is, right? Taking away privilege may work in the abroad. It may not work in Katsina, where an average, because when you say an average, we are talking about how many kids have internet? Not so many. Even in Lagos, Lagos is where the elite live. I can tell you that over 70% of Lagos pupils don't have internet access. Oh. So you can't take away privilege that does not exist.
See, like Ife said, even when we were growing up, okay, sorry, I have to. Okay.
Just as an observation, I don't know why, but this topic has attracted more participation, more interest than the previous two. I don't know. I think maybe it's just because of the interesting thing.
I think one of the reasons one of the reasons why it attracted a lot more participation because the former ones were a bit scary, telling us not to do. People were sober. People were sober. People were scared.
People were sober.
Oh God.
Only the former one were a bit scary.
Now, let me add to Ogeregbe's point. To be very honest, Lagos is not Nigeria. So even for some of us that try to do some strategic work using consumer,
I'll give you sandwich. Give me a few minutes.
We don't take the sample extractions from Lagos as universal for Nigeria.
Correct.
Because indeed, Lagos has to a large extent become very cosmopolitan, more cosmopolitan than most parts of Nigeria. In fact, some other people are a distant second, third, and the rest. So Lagos is not Nigeria, bottom line. And then if we hold on to that fact,
solution.
I see a lot of the conversation around the way we scold, the way we discipline children, coming from the abroad people, from an abroad-centric perspective, where culturally your child can even invite the police. Your child can even call the police.
About the foreign legion.
Yeah, now you have become very, abroad-centric.
Sorry, I beg to disagree.
Wait, let me finish before you start to disagree to agree.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay.
So because this perspective are so abroad-centric,
I can hear you. Can you hear me too?
The underlying abroad environment already allows the child to even invite the police if the child feels bullied. But if the child feels bullied by the parent, the child can invite the police. So that child, bottom line, already has a sense of, a sense of power, a sense of there's a limit to what the parent can even do.
I will say something when you finish, please.
You want your children to feel powerless.
No, I will even say something when Kunle finishes.
I'm not
saying. Yes, I wanted to ask you. See, I want to finish the psychology. Where are you coming from? Do we love our children, or do you show your love by lording over them?
Yinka, Jackie Kunle sorrow. Let him finish, then I will give. You know what? Yinka might be an expert in this field. But let me say something.
Okay. Selfish aspect. You don't want noise. No, I don't want noise. So you take their privilege away because of your own personal gain. Then
who said that? Who said that?
Well, this thing is live on YouTube.
No, sorry. I'm going to stop the live stream.